Nobody warned you about this, and it has quietly destroyed more lives and more destinies than any open enemy ever could. The most dangerous things that have ever entered a human life did not come through force. They came through an open hand. In this video, we reveal the 6 gifts the Bible warns you should never accept from anyone, because not everything handed to you was sent by God. In the Garden of Eden, the enemy did not come to Eve with a threat. He came with a gift. Genesis 3 verse 6 says, "She saw that the tree was good for food, pleasing to the eye, and desirable for gaining wisdom." It looked nourishing, beautiful, promising. And that is what made it the most costly moment in history. Not that it appeared evil, but that it appeared so completely good. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear could protect your life, your peace, and your spiritual future. Let's begin. Gift number 1. Validation that costs you your values. The first gift the Bible warns you never to accept is approval that requires you to quietly become someone different to keep receiving it. Real encouragement calls out who God made you. But this gift only arrives when you shrink, when you silence the parts of yourself that create friction for certain people. And because it feels like acceptance, most people never notice the trade happening underneath it. King Saul in 1 Samuel 15 is the picture. God gave him a clear command: destroy the Amalekites completely. Saul won the battle but kept the best livestock and spared the enemy king. When confronted, his answer was devastating at verse 24. "I was afraid of the people and listened to their voice." The king of Israel, anointed by God, brought down not by rebellion but by a need to be liked. Paul wrote in Galatians 1 verse 10, "If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. Those two things will conflict. And when they do, your choice reveals who you truly belong to." Proverbs 29 verse 25 calls the fear of man a snare, something that closes around you quietly while you still believe you are free. Gift number 2. Opportunity built on someone else's destruction. The second gift is an open door that only exists because someone else was torn down to make room for it. Absalom in 2 Samuel 15 shows us how this works. David's own son, gifted, magnetic, ambitious. He sat at the city gate, intercepted every person with a grievance against the king, and whispered, "If only I were the judge, I would give you justice." He built a following, a platform, every brick laid on the systematic betrayal of his own father. He could not hold what he built. He died hanging from a tree because what is constructed on someone else's ruin carries the nature of ruin inside it. Proverbs 4 verse 17 says, "Some men eat the bread of wickedness. Some opportunities feed on someone else's loss. When you accept them, you inherit what they were built on. A blessing from God arrives with His peace. It does not arrive with someone else's tears tied to it. Before you walk through the next open door, ask God who paid for it." Gift number 3. Comfort that silences your conscience. The third gift is the quietest, a false peace that only settles in after the conscience has been pressed down far enough to stop speaking. Jonah is the picture. God told him to go to Nineveh. He went the opposite direction, boarded a ship, and when God sent a violent storm that terrified every sailor on board, Jonah 1 verse 5 says, he was below deck in a deep sleep. A God-sent storm. His own disobedience. The man was asleep. The captain had to shake him. "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God." That was not God's peace. That was the numbness of a man who had argued with his conscience long enough to finally silence it. Isaiah 30 verse 10 describes people who told the prophets, "Do not speak truth, speak smooth things." There are voices in every life that will offer exactly that. Accept it long enough, and what Paul calls in 1 Timothy 4 verse 2, a seared conscience develops, one that can no longer feel what it was designed to protect you from. A dead conscience is not a strong one, it is a dangerous one. If you are being blessed by this message so far, please like this video. Your support helps this word reach more people who may need wisdom before accepting the wrong gift. Gift number 4. Loyalty that demands your silence. The fourth gift comes not from an enemy, but from people you love. A loyalty that uses the language of commitment to slowly produce complicity. Aaron in Exodus 32 lived this. Moses was on the mountain 40 days. The people demanded gods they could see. Aaron melted their gold, formed a calf, and called it a feast to the Lord. He did not name it idolatry. He wrapped wrong in religious language so everyone could feel comfortable. Not from hatred of God, but from loving the crowd too much in the wrong direction. What he built with good intentions that day ended with 3,000 deaths before sundown. Proverbs 17 verse 15, acquitting the guilty is detestable to God. Ephesians 5 verse 11 says, expose the works of darkness, not broadcast them, but do not pretend they are not there. Silence in the face of wrong is not neutrality, it is slow participation. Anything that requires your silence to survive is not asking for your love. It is asking for your soul. Gift number 5. Knowledge that inflates without transforming. The fifth gift thrives in religious environments, which is exactly why most people never see it coming. It is information that makes a person feel spiritually advanced while leaving them spiritually unchanged. The Pharisees in Matthew 23 had memorized the law, observed every obligation, and debated scripture with extraordinary precision. Jesus looked at them and said, verses 27 and 28, you are like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, full of dead men's bones within, the most scripturally educated men of their generation. They had studied their way around the very God the scripture was pointing toward. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 8 verse 1, knowledge puffs up but love builds up. Something puffed up has the shape of substance without the weight of it. 2 Timothy 3 verse 7, always learning, never arriving at truth. The Bible was not written to make you more impressive. It was written to make you more alive. Gift number 6, a future offered outside of God's timing. The sixth gift is the most seductive because it is not offering you something wrong. It is offering you something God actually promised you, just through a door He never opened, at a time He never released. Abraham and Sarah had waited years on a promised child. In Genesis 16, Sarah came to Abraham with a plan, and verse 2, the Lord has kept me from having children. Take my servant. Perhaps through her I can build a family. It sounded compassionate, reasonable, like mature faith meeting real life. What was born from that moment came not from wickedness, but from exhaustion, from two people who had waited and finally decided to help God along. And that is what makes this gift so penetrating. It does not feel like compromise, it feels like wisdom. Psalm 27 verse 14, wait for the Lord, be strong, take heart and wait. In Hebrew, that word wait carries the image of binding yourself to something and refusing to let go, even when movement feels more productive. Isaiah 28 verse 16 says, the one who trusts will never be in a hurry, because urgency driven by impatience will always open doors into seasons of complication. The distance between a blessing and a burden is very often only timing. Discernment is not suspicion. It is not walking through life with your hands closed. It is the wisdom to know the difference between what God is handing you and what is being handed to you in His name. James 1 verse 17, every good and perfect gift comes from above. Every good gift, which means there are gifts that do not originate there. And you cannot tell them apart by how they look. You tell them apart by where they came from, what they are costing you, and where they are leading you. If you are blessed by this message, type in the comments, guard my heart, Lord. Let that be your declaration today. And if this message blessed you, please like this video, subscribe so you never miss a word, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. God bless you all.